Hello everybody, this is Curtis from PSNStores.com. Today we're going to take a look at Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap, or, if you prefer, Wonder Girl, the Dragon's Trap. So you can do that. This is a game based on Wonder Boy 3, the Dragon's Trap. It's a remake, essentially, and you'll see it's got some pretty cool stuff in it. Developed by Lizard Cube. So, first thing right off the bat I want to take a look at is the gallery. A lot of different things you can kind of unlock as you play through the game. So, some cool artwork. I love this. Everything about that is happening right now. Oh, so good. I really like this one too. But you can kind of like look through it, and you'll unlock these as you progress. This one's pretty good too. So a lot of it kind of focused around the new version. There is some of this stuff's pretty interesting. So different, like, they'll show you the original look from the original game, and then kind of show different kind of styles and ideals that they were going for, which I think is pretty interesting. Here's your lineup. It's a good bit more as well. There's actually some videos later on showing them recording the music for the game. Anyways, let's go ahead and play. So I finished the game last night. Looks like it took me a little under 5 hours. So let's go ahead and start up a new save file. Play on normal. You have easy, normal, hard. Hard mentions you have a limited amount of time, so I don't know exactly. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go Wonder Girl this time. She came for a piece of the action, and she means business. She's been roaming Monsterland, searching for the Mecha Dragon. An impeccable haircut. Both of them. I'm actually curious what it's gonna do here. For one specific thing. So being a remake of the original, this actually, art style wise, obviously it's spruced up and it's got a new updated music as well. But the way the game controls and plays is actually pretty much just straight from the original. So you'll see what I mean in a second. The reason for that being, the reason why they didn't like update the way the game controls, is if you hit R2, you switch right on over. This is the original game. So that's what I was wondering. It looks like I don't believe Wonder Girl was in the original game, so I think they might have just made a new sprite for her. So that's kind of cool. You can also hit R3 in trigger between the modern music and then retro as well. So we'll play a little bit in the modern graphics and then maybe switch over. But it's just it's a real quick swap. I like it. One thing I've done, I played mostly with modern graphics, but every time I got to a new area, I would swap over just to see what it looked like. So, you know, you can walk around, you run around, X to jump, and kind of duck, square to attack. The thing that jumped out to me immediately, and this is indicative of the fact that it does play like the original version, is there is some sort of momentum to your character. The controls are kind of loose, and so you don't, sometimes it depends on the form you're actually taking, because you start out in your human form, but you're eventually like a mouse and a lizard and whatever, lion as well. And so sometimes it's dependent on that too, but you don't necessarily stop on a dime. And one thing it actually does to kind of to demonstrate that a little better in these new visuals is you see sometimes, like, if you do a quick turn, she has a bit of a slide like that, and it actually animates to demonstrate that, which I do like. But what that does is sometimes it just makes the controls a little not great, I guess. Like, sometimes it works against you in some respects. It takes a little bit of getting used to. think we're going down, maybe. Nope. Okay, so this opening sequence here is kind of meant to be your like, oh, look at you, you've got all the 8 hearts, you've got the best equipment, your legendary equipment. Now to go fight the big bad, and look, I'm taking hits, but I'm taking hardly any damage. But this whole like area is, you've got to know the right direction to go into, or you'll like reset the area. So I think from here it's down. Those skeletons are kind of a pain to deal with. Basically, what ends up happening to me a lot with these loose controls is, you know, you don't have a lot of range, so I'll do like the thing where I'll run up and get close enough and then attack. But because I slide just enough, I'll end up getting hit instead of attacking. And it can kind of get a little annoying. There's our Mecha Dragon. And so here's the other thing. You might have caught it there, or right there. Sometimes when you get hit, you're knocked back. If it's something like that line of fireballs, you'll continue to get knocked back. You'll just keep getting knocked back until eventually you have a point where you're not getting hit. And even though you're not necessarily taking damage for every single knockback, there are some encounters, especially a little bit later on, where it can get kind of frustrating. But overall, like those, control-wise, those are my main issues, and I think even when they get a little infuriating in certain circumstances, I still really enjoyed this game a lot, and I think it actually has, especially, you know, despite being a remake, even though it just controls like the original, even in spite of that, I think it has aged pretty well for the most part. So basically the gist of this game is as you're progressing, you'll be getting these new monster forms. So now we're kind of a dragon. And this one's nice because it's got a ranged attack. Not a lot of range on it, but just enough to ensure that when I stop to attack, I won't slide into an enemy. I also like the duck on the dragon. Let's switch to retro audio. Maybe visuals as well. We'll switch it up every few minutes. So yeah, you know, as you're progressing, you'll get your mouse form, your lion form, hawk form, etc. And those each have like their own specific area that you'll go through. You'll fight a boss, get another transformation. But some of them have like some pretty specific abilities that you'll need to be able to progress through a certain area. So like this dragon, I mean, he's got a ranged attack, but it's nothing like there's nothing too specific about this form. I say he, but I'm playing as Wonder Girl, so she has a ranged attack. There's nothing too specific about that form. Figured we should at least show that in the new shiny graphics. But like the mouse form can like crawl along the ceiling, or like on certain types of walls. The hawk can obviously fly. The lion can actually damage like blocks underneath to unlock special areas. You've got a form that can swim through water, and so as you can imagine, that enables you to access different areas that you normally wouldn't be able to. And exploration is pretty open. You can kind of go in whatever direction. Obviously, there's a set path you need to go depending on the form you've taken. But there are some circumstances where when you get new forms, you can go back to prior areas and unlock new places to get maybe another heart piece or something else specific that maybe a special weapon or piece of armor. So here we've got this. So you look at your the passwords. I guess the original version had a password system instead of save files. I've been handing out those ancestral codes for decades now. Write them down carefully. I don't know if there's a place where you can enter them, though. I don't think I've actually seen a spot to enter codes. So I'm not entirely sure if there is or not. I mean, I just love how slick this is. I'd be really curious. So I don't have a I don't really have any attachment to this game. I never played it until now. So like, I really like the way this looks, like the updated graphics. I wonder if you're watching and you did play the original, and maybe have an attachment towards it. I wonder what you might think of the new graphics. Like, do you not like them? Do you like them? Do you feel like it has captured kind of the general feeling that the original graphics had? Like, do you feel like this is a pretty good representation? I'd be interested to hear other people's thoughts on it, since I don't have any familiarity with the original. That said, I really do like the way this game looks. Wrong door. But I'm curious to hear other people's opinions on it. So we got an extra heart. You can get up to 8. And they're not too difficult to find, I don't think. So we'll go through a little bit more. I guess we can switch to the modern sound. Music's been good too. I think both the original and the modern music, I think both are pretty good. Oh crap. I love the look on the crabs. That like face they make is pretty good. We did it again. So another thing to keep in mind, so like we open up the menu. Enemies drop fireballs, tornadoes, arrows, boomerangs, and thunder. These are kind of magic abilities you can use. Fireballs just go directly forward. Thunder kind of like launches at the ground and spins between enemies. Can hit up to twice, up to 2 times an enemy. Arrow shoots directly upwards. Boomerang, it's a classic toy, is making a comeback. And then thunder strikes every nearby enemy. You also get keys sometimes to unlock certain doors. So here's like where your weapons would be. An interesting thing how this works. So like it says Lizard Man plus 3 attack. Depending on the form you've taken, some swords, shields, and armor might be better for different forms. So one thing that I kind of had to keep in mind of later in the game when I was switching between different forms for maybe to access different areas or just some general like cleanup before tackling the last area, I had to kind of keep in mind that when I switched, I needed to also go in and kind of switch my gear up to ensure that I was, you know, getting the most out of my current gear. You also notice I currently have 1 potion. So basically, when you lose all of your health, those potions will activate and heal you. I think you carry up to 3 at a time. And there are some shops you'll find around the world. I think there was like 1 or 2 that most of them sell armor and weapons. I think there's like 1 or 2 that sell potions specifically. And they increase in price depending on how many hearts you have. Like if you got all 8 hearts, it's going to be pretty expensive to buy a potion. I don't know how I feel about that necessarily. I guess like it makes sense because it's gonna be healing a lot more. I think my larger issue is that, like, there get to a point where the way the game is set up is there's no checkpoints, so when you die, you just return to that main hub area, that little town. And so some sections of the game require you to go through a pretty extensive an extensive area to get to a boss fight. So dying in that boss fight can be kind of rough, because it's like, whoa, I gotta repeat all of that again. And so towards the end of the game, I was like, well, I could just stock up on potions, and that'll make it a little easier. But to do that, I would have to go, like, because the potion shop is, like, on the other side of the map, so I'd have to go through a whole long area, because it's not, like, fast travel or anything. So I'd have to, like, go through a big area to get to that shop. And then it's already super expensive, so, like, I could only buy one potion anyways. Just a couple of, like, small little complaints, but nothing too major. So I do not have the money to get the goblin mail. But if I did, give me some good defense. But I do have a key. One good thing though, like, even though when you die and return back to that main town area, any major progress is saved. So, like, if you found a key like that, or if you found a weapon, or if you bought a weapon or something like that, you keep all that stuff. And these, I love the clouds with shades. Like, it's a great look. But boy, they can also get kind of annoying to deal with, especially the ones that drop fireballs that follow you. Kind of annoying because you're trying to deal with enemies on the ground. It's a whole mess. Let's go. Switch it up. So I guess the main difference is, if you are playing with the original graphics and whatnot, is it's just in widescreen, so that's new. Might be faster to just die. Game over. To continue, push start. So here's an interesting thing. It's got this, like, a roulette kind of thing going on. And so if that potion stops on a red heart, you start with a potion already, which is kind of nice. Anyways, we got the key, so we can unlock this door. So anyways, one thing, because we're not going to see it in this video, that wall to the right, the checkerboard wall, I can't do anything with that now, but when I get my next transformation, the mouse transformation, what I can do is I can actually use the mouse to climb out that wall and access the shop that's up there. So that's the kind of thing that you'll be looking at as far as what other kinds of things you can do when you get different transformations, the kind of general exploration of the world, how that is, what the progression in that is like. So you're going to be able to access new areas from places you've previously been when you get those new transformations. So going through this door and then this one up here kind of leads to the next area that you'll go to in the game. And that is the desert. And this will lead to a boss fight and stuff. But I think that's probably a pretty good look at this game so far. It is, it's good. I like it. And again, it's nice that, you know, if you're someone that did grow up with the original and you're, like, a big fan and stuff, you can just play it. You can play it like this with the original music. It plays like it played back then, at least from my understanding of it. And if not, like, you can also play it this way, whatever kind of floats your boat. And I appreciate that quite a bit. Again, if you are someone who did grow up with the original, I'd be curious to know what your take is on the new kind of art in this game. I like it a lot. I think it looks really nice, but I'd be interested in other people's thoughts on it as well. Here's your healing shop. So we got a nurse here. That's kind of what it looks like from the original. And, you know, one thing that actually occurred to me just a minute ago is like a week or two or a couple weeks ago, they were like, hey, special announcement, you can play as Wonder Girl too. You can play as a girl in this game. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But you're not really in human form very much, and so it's I guess it's not as present throughout the game as I thought it might be. But even regardless, it's still a cool thing that you can do, and I like that you can change the title screen. Anyways, so just you can go into options and kind of set this stuff as well. But it's mapped to the controller for like a really quick change, which I appreciate. In different languages. You can go back. Again. And yeah, so as you're playing through, like I showed you before, there's a bunch of gallery stuff that you can open up. I don't know, some of these things I still don't have. There's like a handful that I don't have unlocked. They don't have any specific details on how to unlock them, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm missing. Maybe it's for completing on hard, would be my guess. But again, I really like this stuff a lot. A lot of this stuff is pretty interesting. I really like this one, like the one on the top left. It's nice. Like some of this stuff clearly was not used. It was like, here's some other kind of interesting artwork we had. So like that one as well. In the top left. We have a look at like some of the bosses and other enemy types. This stuff is really nice. This is the kind of thing that I'd like to see like a lot of other games include. Not even games that are like remaking older games. It's like general concept art, I guess. Sometimes it's not always interesting to look at that stuff, but I think this stuff just... It's really cool. I love the running animation for the mouse. Anyways, yeah, so there's some other things here I do not have yet. And again, you can get later on and you can see these are actual full-on videos showing them in some recording sessions. Anyways, that is Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. It is out now on PS4. I like it quite a bit. I'll have a review of this up hopefully around the time you're seeing this video. It's really cool. There's a couple little complaints I have with the way it controls, but I think that's just inherent to it being, you know, an older game. The fact that it controls, like they kept those controls intact, I can respect that. But also it's, you know, it shows its age in some spots. So, but regardless, even as someone who didn't have any nostalgia for this game, I still really enjoyed it for just on its own merits. And so I think that says a lot. So thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see you later.